You have clicked on First 4 Centers. In this tutorial, we're going to concentrate on learning how to complete our first 4 centers of the 5x5 Rubik's Cube, and I'm going to show you now how that is done. Alright, as we know, the centerpiece of any side doesn't move, so the centerpiece makes that color. So here we have blue, so we put another blue piece next to that, making a 1x2 block, as you can see. Then we make another 1x2 block and put it beside that. Then we make another one and we put it beside that. And then we have to make a 1x3 block, and then we can put it underneath that, making a full centerpiece. Now that you have an understanding on how we actually build a center, we're going to go ahead and do it. So I'm going to choose white for mine. As you recall, the centerpiece never moves, so I know that this is white, and this is yellow, and this is blue, and so on around the cube. So I'm going to concentrate on doing white for this tutorial. So I'm going to use white as my bottom color. So as you know, we have to put one piece beside it. It doesn't matter if it's here, 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 or here. It just needs to be one of these pieces. And as I look here, here's one here. So this needs to go here. But we can't move it down because it will knock out this. So we have to put it on the side. So we move it on the side, and now we can move it down to match this. Now, as you know, we have to create one more 1x3 block. Or sorry, 1x2 block. So we're going to look around the cube, and what we need is another one of these pieces and then a corner piece to attach to it. So here's one of these pieces. So let's look for another corner piece to attach to it. Here's one here. As you can see, it can be brought down easily. If it was not there, if it was here, we could just bring it down on this side. So now that you've created your second 1x2 block, we can go ahead and insert it. But as you can see, we can't just insert it because we're going to break up that one that was already there. So we have to get this out of the way. So we get it out of the way, and now as you can see, it can be inserted very easily. So let's look for another one. Again, here we have one of the pieces that we need to attach it to. And here is a corner piece that can come up and fill in that 1x2 block again. Now we need to insert it on this side. As you can see, we can't just bring it up because that is out of place. So we need this spot to be here. So now we can bring it up. And we have now made our 2x3 block of 6 pieces. Now we need to make our 1x3 block. So let's look around the cube, and they are all on this side. So as you can see, this piece here is right there, and we need this piece to come here. So what we can do is put that piece where it needs to go, as you can see, and then we can move it out of the way, and we can move this back and then bring this back up. And now we've completed our 1x3 block, and now we can insert it into the white side. As you can see, we can't just bring it up because that will do nothing really. What we need to do is bring the spot that it needs to be right here. So we turn this around, and now we can bring this up. So now that you've completed your first center, we're going to work on our second center. And the second center you always want to work on is exactly opposite of your first. So in this case, I have my white. So now I'm going to work on my yellow. So as you know, we create a 1x2 block by putting one of these pieces in. And here's one here. And again, we can't just bring it up because we're going to kick that center out. So we actually have to move it to the side. And now we can bring it up to attach it to this one. But as you can see, in doing that, we've temporarily destroyed this white. So what we have to do is we have to get this out of the way. So we bring in an empty slot, and now we can bring this back in. Now we have our 1x2 block attached. So we see that there's already a 1x2 block here. So we don't have to make another one. And so what we can do is turn this so it's able to go into here, and we put it in. And as you can see, again, we've destroyed our white. So we have to put the white back. And we can't just put it back because we'll undo our work. So we have to get our work out of the way. And we turn it so we have an empty slot now that can go back, and it fixes our white. So now we have 2. So we need to make one more 1x2 block. And here's 2 of them actually. This looks like one, but you can either use this one with that piece or this one with this piece. So let's take a look at this side and see what we would rather do. Well, what we can do is we can fill in this piece here. So we need this piece to go here. So if we bring that down, this is where it needs to be. So let's put it back up and turn this so it is there. Now let's turn this up to match it up, but of course we destroyed part of our white again, so we're going to have to move that out of the way, bringing in an empty slot, and then bringing that down. Now, as you can see, we just need a 1x3 block. So we're going to add it on to this piece. So let's turn it this way so we can move pieces beside it. And as you can see, here's a piece here. And we can't just turn it down because that's not where it needs to go. It needs to go here. So if we bring this piece up, that's in the position it needs to be in. So we need to put it in that position. And because we have our white on one side and our yellow on the other side, we don't have to worry about damaging our work now. So we can bring this down. Now, as you can see, we need to attach this one to that, and we can't bring it up and do that. So it needs to be in this position. So let's put it in that position. Now let's get it out of the way by pushing it back. Now let's bring this back, so when we bring that piece back, it'll attach itself. Now we're going to go ahead and attach this to these pieces. And as you can see, we can't just put it up. So what we need to do is, and another thing we can't do is just put it in its slot like this, because we're going to break up our white. So how you work this is you actually turn the top around 180 degrees. So this piece that you're inserting is over top of a slot that's already used. And I want you to kick that slot out and then turn this 180 degrees. And as you can see, when you bring it back, you're going to fix your white and your yellow. So let's go on to another center. Let's pick red. So here's a red one. As you can see, there's a 1x2 block already made here. There's also another 1x2 block made here. So what we can do is we can move this one out. We can turn this one all the way around and then put that one back. And as you can see, it's a little trick that we use to create a 2x2 block here. Let's try and see if we can find another one. So here's a piece, and we need to attach a piece either here or here. And we just happen to have one here. We have to make sure that we're not going to destroy any of our work, because we're going to be moving this layer. So we look up and we're not going to destroy any of that work, as we can see. If this happened to be like this, and we're going to bring this up to attach it to that piece, we will be destroying our work. So we would want to get that out of the way first. So now, as you can see, we can bring this up, and let's see where we can insert it into our pieces here. So we can turn this way. So now we have a row that we can use, and we need it to be here in this piece, in that piece. So let's bring that down, and it needs to be here and there. So as you can see, we can move this back so it is in that position, and now we can move it up. So now what we want to do is, because we're still working in this plane here, we want to turn it sideways, so we're not going to destroy any of our work by turning this. So what we want to do is we want to get this out of here, because we can't work on this piece while it's in this face. So we want to get it out, and we want to turn it. So now we can move pieces and match them up here. So what we can do is see a piece. Here's a piece here. So let's match it up with that one. Just like that. So now you can see that this piece needs to go there. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to move this out of the way. We need to separate these. So we need to put this piece in a different face. So let's put it in a different face, and making sure that we're not screwing up our work already, which we're not. As you can see, if it was like this and we'd moved, we would screw up our work. So we would have to move this out of the way, bring in an empty slot. You always have to be mindful of the work you've already done and not to damage it. So let's see. This piece needs to go here. So let's move that into a plane where we can actually move without destroying work we've already done. So we need this piece to come up here. So if we bring this piece down, we can see that that red piece would need to be in that position. So let's move it in that position. Now we can match this up, making sure we're not going to destroy our work, which we're not. Bring that up. And now we can put this inside here. And we can use that slot because we don't have anything else to destroy. So we're going to bring this up, and now we've created our third center. So let's go on to another one. Here's an easy one, because we already have two that are done. And that's one thing that you want to look for when you're doing your centers, is to look for things that are already done. So in this case, we only have to create one more 2x1 block and then our 3x1 block. So let's take a look around the cube. as you can see, here are two of these pieces that we need to match up with. And we can match this corner piece up with this one by bringing it up. But in doing that, we've destroyed our red, as you can see. So we need to bring that red back. So what we need to do, because we've just matched this piece up with this, is we need to get that out of this plane here so we can move it back and make sure our red goes back the way it was. Now we want to match up this piece down here, and as you can see, this slot here is empty and it just happens to be in the same position here. So what we can do is we can bring it down and we can match them up, and then we have to move them out of the way, bringing in an empty slot that's not being used. And now we can realign our red pieces just like that. All right, let's go on now, and we are going to create our final 1x3 block. Here's our piece, our middle piece that we're going to attach pieces to. Here is a piece that can come up just like this. And of course, we've destroyed our red again, so we have to move that out of the way, and then we can bring our red back. Now we need this position to be in this slot, because I can see that the piece is actually here. And because this is in the upper left, this piece, and this is in the bottom left, well, we can't just match it up. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this out of this center and into this center. So we move it up, and of course we've destroyed our red, so we have to get that out of the way and put our red back. Now we can see that we are looking for the bottom left piece, so we have to move this to the bottom left. Now we can match it up. But of course we destroyed our reds again, so we have to move this one back. So why don't we move this one into that layer, so when we move it back, not only does it recreate our red side, but it moves the blue closer to this side. So now we have to match up the blue with their two pieces here to finish our blue center. And we can't just move it in, because as you know, we are going to destroy our red. So just like before, we need to put it over top of a slot that's already used. Now we need to kick out that slot, turn this 180 degrees, and move it back. And you've completed your first 4 centers. So now you can go ahead and click on the page and go back to the home page and click on last 2 centers.